Guys, hope all's well. My name's Dan Bennett. I'm the undergraduate program leader for the business school at the University of Brighton, and just wanted to take a few minutes to welcome you to the business school and welcome you to this online applicant day. Lots of information available from a lot of different people, so hopefully you'll kind of get a feel for what we do, how we do it, and there's a chance to talk to a number of our students and staff as well about what we do. What I wanted to do is just kind of introduce you to key elements of the business school, in particular a little bit about who we are, what we do and why we do it. So if you like, a little bit of the sort of philosophical underpinning behind some of our courses and our modules, just to give you a little bit of a flavour for our activities and what I hope you will kind of get from your time here with us if you decide that this is where you want to be. So first of all, why the business school? It's quite an exciting time to be at the business school at the moment, because we've got a new head of school who started with us a couple of years ago, and she's brought with her some kind of quite fresh ideas, particularly in terms of our strategy and our approach to teaching and learning and some of the networks that we want to be involved in. And we've recently kind of redone our mission and our vision. And in particularly with the vision, this idea that we want to make a real difference to people, practice and society. And I think that gives us quite a key bit of direction in what we're trying to do as a school, and how what we're doing in terms of our school strategy filters down into our teaching, our learning, our assessment, how we kind of engage with yourselves across a number of different modules and various activities that we're doing, to really kind of think about you as an individual, your professional practice, and then the impact that you and businesses go on and have with society in general. And from that, a really key focus for us is this idea about responsible enterprise. So very much about how we as a school, as staff and as students start to engage with business. And we're very, very tuned into the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So I don't know whether you've come across those before or not, but it's worth going and having a look. 17 Sustainable Development Goals, focusing on areas such as poverty, hunger, health, education, equality, climate change, about the natural environment, the aquatic environment, construction, manufacturing, all sorts of kind of different areas. So we're kind of very much looking at how we embed elements of the UN SDGs into our teaching, our learning, our assessment, and in some cases how we're preparing you guys for a future which is going to be very much driven by sustainability as a key agenda. So responsible enterprise has kind of become a really key theme for us. This includes focus on different kind of projects that we have within modules, placement opportunities. There's a number of kind of consultancy and research projects we have going on which enable our students to kind of get involved in those as well. So lots of opportunity to kind of broaden your knowledge in a host of different areas and kind of get involved in different things. We're also very keen on developing our multidisciplinary projects. That's how we're working at the moment with other schools and across other courses. So we've got a number of projects running at the moment with the guys in engineering, doing some stuff with the guys in digital media, mathematics. And we've also got a couple of projects running at the moment with the teams in art and design and architecture and fashion. So an opportunity to kind of really do some work and get mixing with students from other schools, not just within the business school, which I think is a really kind of important part of your professional and personal development. We're also very much into social exchange and networking, and particularly with the networking, looking at how you start kind of building your professional profile, how you engage with kind of different professional groups, and really sort of start building up that narrative about yourself, if you like. And then we also have enterprise ambassadors and mentors, and a little bit more on some of our enterprise activities very shortly. So responsible enterprise and the SGDs are a key focus for us. Within the school, a whole host of different bits of activity going on. Like quite a few business schools, we're professionally accredited. We're currently in the process of gaining our AACSB, which is the Association for the Advancement of Collegiate Schools of Business. I think it's about 5% of the world's business schools are members of AACSB, and we're one of them. And then we're kind of going through an accreditation process with a focus very much on our continual development, our continual improvement. So we're assessed based on what we do, and then even more so on what we continue to do. So there's a really key focus on how we continue to get better and we continue to improve. So that's kind of quite a nice badge for us to have. Very career focused in terms of our courses, very strong industry links, whether it's kind of guest lectures, placements, short-term internships, industry-based case studies. So, you know, the university has a strategy called practical wisdom. It's this idea about kind of how we put knowledge into practice, and that it remains a very, very key, strong focus for us on our courses. Wide mix of student nationalities and backgrounds. So the profile of the business school, we're about 2,500 students, of which probably about 38% or so are non-UK. And I think when I went through the list last year, we ticked off about 60 different nationalities. So it's a very, very interesting cultural mix of students from a whole range of different backgrounds, going from the age of 18 through to some students who are into their 50s. We've had a couple as well who have kind of been early 60s, coming in with a range of different experiences and backgrounds. So in terms of your learning and your development, not just from the tutors, what you read, what you research, the projects you get involved in, but also very much from kind of peer to peer and what other people who you're in the class with think about things in terms of industries and brands and sectors and how they see things developing in the world around us. Research outputs, we are in the top 5 of all UK business schools for research impact. And the key thing here about impact is it's not just purely academic research, it's academic research which is applied or has an impact in business. So again, sits very nicely with our experiential and our enterprise and our applied kind of feel. And we got a really nice ranking from The Economist a couple of years ago, which kind of ranked us 11th in the UK for added value to career earnings. And if you're looking at the law programs, we came second. So that was kind of quite a nice benchmark for us. And then the key thing for me, and I know a number of my colleagues, is starting to think about yourselves, not just as students in the school or graduates within the first kind of year or 2 years, but starting to think about yourselves in terms of your careers over a 15, 20-year period. So most of you are probably 17, 18, give or take a year or two. Which is young, and you have time on your side, which is super, but you also have careers which are going to last you the best part of 50 years. So I'm 45. I had my pension statement through last year. It said estimated retirement age 68. So if you are currently about 17 or 18, your estimated retirement age is probably going to be closer to 70. So we need to think about the longer term period of your careers. So not just what you do when you first graduate, year and a half after graduation, but what you're going to go on and do in year 3, year 5, year 10, in towards kind of year 15 and 16. So we're trying to take a very forward-looking view of you and your career and your development over a 15, 20, potentially 25-year period. And I think that's something which is really key for us and sets us apart from some other business schools, that we have got that slightly longer term and, as we like to say, kind of future-proofed view of you. So this kind of becomes a really key focus for us. It's only about future-proofing and how we're preparing you for, a whole world of change and development and stuff that's kind of going on way into the future and things that we don't know about. So we kind of really need to be able to prepare you to be adaptable, to be creative, to be innovative, to kind of look at how you embrace change and evolve as various industries and sectors will evolve around you. So the key focus here, so it's about future proofing, it's about your employability. And with that, it's very much about you. So I think one of the nice things is kind of for a large business school, we have a very good personal touch. So we're very good at kind of getting an understanding of you, what you're interested in, how you like to learn, the kind of areas that you want to develop in, and looking at how we can start tailoring elements of the course, of assessment, of our conversations towards you and your particular goals. And again, it's not always easy when you're 17, 18 to think about what you might be doing in 15, 20 years time, but at least kind of having those conversations and becoming a little bit aware about the world around us and how things are changing does help focus and kind of give you some choice. So that becomes a really kind of key element for us as a school, and again, a key part of our philosophy. Excuse me. We have employability throughout the courses. So across a whole range of modules, an opportunity to get some hands-on practice to kind of start testing your professional skills. So we're not just about theory and textbook teaching, it's about you going out and doing something. It's about you actually kind of getting some skills, getting some experience, getting to understand how things work, what you're good at, what you're not so good at. One of the things that we find, upon graduation, there's always a number of graduates holding on to that kind of piece of paper which says they've got this award. So we're very keen on looking at experiences which make you stand out from the crowd a little bit. So, one of the questions you'll always get at interview when you apply for a graduate job, okay, you've got the degree, that's great, but what experience do you have? So we need to make sure that you've got some applied experiences as part of your course. So things like developing academic and professional skills, professional practitioner, If you're on the law programs, things like art of advocacy. The business programs have a really cracking module in the second year, business problem solutions, short block teaching, lots of focus on problem solving, group work, group learning, and how you kind of come together and solve these kind of quite wicked business problems. Content, copy and creative for the marketing students. This is you actually spending 6 or 7 months working on a content campaign for a live business client. Enterprise project, there's a module in the final of responsible enterprise, developing professional practice in business. So it really is, you know, a key focus on your, say, employability and professional skills, and that again is studied throughout all the programs in a whole host of different ways. So there's an opportunity to kind of get involved in a number of elements of that. Alongside that, all our courses have placements, so you can either study them 3 years full-time, or you can do 4-year placement. I think we had about 150 students go out on placement last year with a whole range of organisations. So Rolls-Royce, Sony, American Express, Grant Thornton. I was supervising a student who was at Xerox. Got a couple of students at Disney this year, which is pretty cool. Hewlett-Packard Enterprises have taken some of our students as well. So, you know, we would highly recommend, you know, if you want to and you can, to do a placement year. We have a placements and employability office who will help and support you with CVs, covering letters, will help you set up with interviews, getting to assessment centres. They're advertising loads of jobs, loads of placements and internships all the time. And then the thing that I find, particularly with students who go on placement, is when they kind of come back into the final year, that year's worth of industry experience and knowledge, they just think and apply themselves a little bit differently, particularly on some of the final year strategy modules. And we also know that there's some evidence that says if you take a 1-year placement, it enhances your graduate employability and graduate earnings as well after you finish. So we really are kind of recommending that people do the placement. At the same time, we know that we've got the ability for you to get experience within the course, even if you decide not to go on placement. All our placements are paid placements, so earnings between 16 and about 28,000. We have had a couple of people earning a little bit more. Depends on the company you go to and the kind of role you're in. Placements take place normally anytime between June and the September the following year. So it's a 12-month placement, but you've got about 15 months in which to do it. So that's quite cool. So we would certainly recommend that. In addition, there, whole host of other added value. So wide range of guest and visiting lecturers. There's different field work and field visits going on. We've got a really good raft of professional accreditations and memberships. So from the Institute of Directors to the Chartered Management Institute to some of the legal qualifying organisations, accounting and finance, ACCA, financial conduct, marketing, chartership marketing qualifications are also available to be taken. So again, this is about badging you. One of the things that we're quite keen to do is to kind of look at how you sort of build up that profile of yourself. So again, not just about the degree, but it's about the experiences, it's about the badges. We're quite often talking to students these days about the narrative that is developed about themselves, and helping them build up their LinkedIn profile. We're also making quite a lot of use these days of LinkedIn learning. So again, with some of the professional accreditations, there's also other professional qualifications you can do. We had Google Digital Garage down this year, and they're going to be coming back a couple of times over the next year or so. Some of the Google trainers coming and running some training sessions, people like Jellyfish, big agency as well, coming onto campus, and then a couple of the consultancies. So an opportunity to be guided and take some of those additional kind of qualifications, which again is just about building up your profile. We've got our own student marketing agency. So again, if you're on the marketing and the business routes, there's an opportunity to get involved with Bright Young Things. And then there's a range of consultancy projects that we have happening too. One of the things which I think is a really cool thing that the university offers, we've got something called Be Purple, which is a student enterprise and startup hub. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've noticed more and more of our students are kind of getting really interested in entrepreneurship. So rather than kind of going and working for a business, they're starting to devise their own business ideas, starting to kind of bring little bits of project together, and starting to look at how they use their degree to help support those kind of business ideas. And the university has a project called Be Purple, which is all about supporting student entrepreneurship and startups. And we've had probably about 10 or 15 students over the last few years who, during their time with us, have kind of started devising and working on their own businesses. We had a guy last year, Naglis, who graduated, and he'd spent last couple of years of his degree essentially using his modules as mentoring and consultancy to kind of get his business idea going. And when he graduated, he was the owner of a business that was turning over about 300,000 a year. So that wasn't a bad result, and kind of quite a nice place for him to be when he did that. We also have a range of student societies. And again, if you kind of look on the website for the Students' Union, you'll see there's a broad range of student societies you can get involved in. Some are academic, some are social, some are sports, some are general interest. But I think there's about 60 or 70 different student societies you can kind of get involved in. So again, a nice way to kind of meet people and kind of bring people with similar interests together. We have a couple of enrichment enhancement weeks which take place every year. And again, a range of activities around employability, around networking, around study skills, which happen during those weeks. And this idea about kind of being more connected. So one of the things we're quite keen to do is to get our students getting connected to each other, getting connected to our alumni, getting connected with other students throughout the university, and getting connected with industry as well. So we have a number of events which help facilitate some of that. And for a big business school, one of the things I think we're really good at, as I mentioned a minute or two ago, is, you know, this kind of very sort of personal approach. So, you know, we're kind of 2,500 students, and what I think is quite nice is we actually know who our students are. So there is an opportunity for personal tutoring. There's an opportunity for individual mentoring. We kind of do big hall lectures, but then we also do a lot of small group seminar work, maybe 10, 15 people, alongside kind of one-to-one, two-to-one tutorials. So a real opportunity to kind of work on your personal and professional development. So I say very good at kind of a, not, would I use hands-on approach? Maybe hands-on approach, but certainly a very kind of personal approach in terms of how we support you through your time with us at the university. And then a key one, which we started working on, and we introduced this about a year ago, is our kind of 3 Rs: responsible, resilient, and remarkable. So responsible is very much in line with our mission and vision about responsible enterprise. So how you are responsible, how you are sustainable, how you kind of carry out your kind of professional and sort of personal business with a sense of responsibility and sustainability, thinking about the kind of organizations you might want to work with. So that's a key focus for us. We also want you to be resilient. We know that the world around us is changing quite phenomenally at the moment, and therefore starting to look at the tools and the skills and the mindset that you need to see you through those kind of periods of change and development, and to kind of help you build up your resilience. And then my own personal favorite is about remarkable. And remarkable comes from a couple of different areas. So one of my favorite authors is a guy called Seth Godin, who wrote a book back in about 2002, 2003 called The Purple Cow. And the opening line in the book is, "Why be a brown cow in a field full of other brown cows?" It's about being purple. And at this point, the purpleness of the cow is about remarkability. And remarkability means two things. Firstly, it's about being different. It's about being innovative. It's about being creative. It's about standing out from the crowd. So when we talk about how you develop that narrative about yourself, this is how you make yourself a little bit different to the other people who are at interview around you. You know, you've got to think a little bit more innovatively, think a little bit more creatively, think a little bit more dynamically. So remarkability in terms that you are different and you think differently. The other key thing about remarkability is that you are worthy of remark. And again, it goes back to what I've been saying about building up that narrative about yourself. What do people say about you? You know, what's the reference that we write about you when you graduate? What are the stories that are told about you? Why do people want to work with you? Well, they want to work with you because you're known as being somebody who gets this done, who gets involved in this, who can kind of come with this idea. So, you know, you building up that profile becomes really key. So responsible, resilient, and remarkable are three really key elements which underpin a lot of what we do. So that's the kind of philosophical side of where we're from. With that, we then have a number of courses. So business management, you can take it as pure business management, or you can do it with economics, finance, HR, or marketing. So we've got some students who, you know, like the more kind of general, or want the more general kind of business management, but then some specialization. It's a little bit like the old American kind of major minor system. At the same time, we do have specialist courses. So you look down the bottom, we have got students who want to specialize purely in accounting and finance, economics, finance investment, or in marketing management. We've got international business management. We've got a top up. So that's for students who are looking at coming directly into the final year, who have completed a couple of years study somewhere else. And then we also have the suite of law degrees, so the straight law degree, law with business, and law with criminology. So there's quite a little bit of choice. There's quite a lot of commonality between some of them, so you'll kind of find there's some shared modules across most of these courses, but then also some very specialist routes as well with their own standalone specialisation. So it really is kind of down to you and what kind of focus you want and what sort of skills and knowledge set you want. So this is where it's quite good to talk to some of the tutors and some of the students that we have on the course at the moment, who will kind of maybe give you some ideas about which route is good for you, why they're doing the route they are, what they kind of get from it, and just maybe kind of get you thinking about the key focus that you want to have. Something which is very exciting for those of you who are looking at starting with us in 2021 or 2022 is we're currently going through the big build. It's into kind of its final year, and we should be having the new business school building opening. It's the middle picture, which you can see on the screen here. New business school building, which will be opening in September 2021. So we're going to have a new facility to move into. Really cool, really exciting bit of space. Lots of opportunity to do some different stuff in there in terms of how we engage with you as students, how we're going to kind of get businesses in to engage with. There's a startup hub for businesses coming alongside that as well. And so we're really looking at how we can kind of have our students working with startup businesses on various different projects, doing various different bits of research. So it's quite an exciting time. New mission, new vision, some new accreditations, some new partnerships taking place, and a new business school building. So it's a cool time to be studying it with us at the moment. I'm actually, as program leader, really looking forward to kind of how all this kind of comes together. And I think one of the great things being is our students are currently very engaged in helping us shape the future of the business school in terms of this new facility and this new outlook that we've got. So very actively working with our students in consultation about some of the developments that we want to see kind of moving forward over the next 5 or 6 years or so. So, you know, it was a very quick intro. This is like a 20-minute introduction to the school. Hello, this is who we are. It's nice to see you and thank you for coming along. Attending these open days, you know, it's an interesting time at the moment, particularly doing these remotely due to the whole COVID-19 situation, but still a good chance to kind of find out a little bit about what we do, how we do it, why we do it. And I think, you know, it's a good starting point. And as it says on the screen, starting is always better than not starting. So you guys have got some choice and some options ahead of you. What I hope you kind of get from today and some of the stuff that we're doing at these open days is just getting a little bit more information about who we are, what we do, and starting to kind of get a feel for whether that is something you might want to be a part of or not. So thank you very much indeed for coming along. Hope you find what you need. And if you don't, just kind of feel free to give us a shout and we will answer any questions that you have.